my dear friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. So, today we are going to start with the lesson 3 of our complete Python course. And in today's course, we will be doing very interesting topics that could be, you can say, operators in Python. And then we will be discussing about the typecasting in Python and much more topics we will be discussing. Okay, guys, so stay tuned and let's move to the code part. And I will be telling you what we will be doing today. All right, guys, so happy coding, everyone. Let's begin the class. My dear friends, now we are going to start with the operators in Python. So let me just discuss that with you. Yeah, so let's just begin with a new topic, that is the operators in Python. So yeah, so my dear friends, let me just tell you what are the operators in Python. So you can say that an operator is a symbol that performs certain operations between, you can say, operands. All right, my dear friends. So in this case, I can simply say that these are the operands. Okay, so let's say there are two operands. You can say A and B are my two operands. Okay, and I will simply perform the operation of A plus B. Okay, so these are my operands. This is my operand and this is my another operand. Okay, my dear friends. So in this case, this is my operator on which I am performing the operation. All right. So these are the things which I am doing in this case. Okay, so let me just discuss with you about the arithmetic operators. So basically, these are all the arithmetic operations that are simply used to perform the mathematical operation. Okay, so let me just share that with you how they perform the mathematical operations. Okay, so let's just move to the code part. Okay, so let me just tell you, my dear friends, what are the arithmetic operators. All right. So arithmetic operators are simply, you can say A is equals to 3 and you can say B is equals to 6. All right, my dear friends. So in this case, if I will write simply, you can say simply print A plus B, that will perform the addition operation. Then I will write over here A minus B, then it will perform the subtraction operation. Then it will do print A multiply by B, then it will perform the, you can say, multiplication operation. If I will write over here A divided by B, okay, so then it will perform the divide operation. If I will write over here A and then double star B, it will perform some other operation. There is another operator, like you can say A and percent B, it will also perform one more operation. All right, my dear friends. So now let me just discuss with you about the operators. Okay. So let me just discuss with you. Let me just run it. Okay. So the first thing is, my dear friends, firstly it is A plus B. Okay. So my dear friends, in this case, I can say that yeah, so A plus B, when I am doing, it will simply return me the answer to be 9. That is right. Then I am doing A minus B. That means 3 minus 6. It will return me minus 3 in this case. Then I am doing A multiply by B. In this case, I am getting 3 multiplied by 6, which is 18. Then A divided by B. 3 divided by 6 is simply returning me 0.5. Then in this case, in the fourth case, I am writing 3 double star B. This simply means that 3 to the raise 4. Okay, my dear friends. So let me just tell you what does that mean? That simply means that double star operation, that 3 double star, you can say 4, that simply means 3 to the raise 4. All right, my dear friends. So in this case, I'm simply getting, you can say 729 as the answer. Then A and percent B. In this case, I can say that it is, you can say 3 and percent 6. Okay. So the remainder is simply the 3 and that is what I'm getting. So that is how, my dear friends, the arithmetic operators works. Now let's just move forward to the relational operators. Okay, my dear friends. So in the case of relational operators, or you can say the comparison operators, they are simply used to compare the two values. Okay, my dear friends. So in this case, I can simply tell you how they work. So simply I can say that A is equals to 3. Okay. So in this case, I can simply say is that A is equals to 3 simply means that I am assigning the value of 3 to A. And in simple mathematics, this is used. But in case of, you can say that Python, I'm using this double equal to symbol. Okay, and this double equal to 3 I'm writing for assigning the values. Then this symbol simply stands for, you can say, not equal to. So A is, you can say, not equal to 4, like that. All right, my dear friends. Then there are basically these are simply used to compare the values. All right. So now let me just discuss with you various operations related to this, my dear friends. So let me just write down over here the relational operators in Python. Okay. So for example, my dear friends, I'm getting the value of, let's say I'm writing the variables. You can say C is equals to simply 50 and D is equals to 60. Okay, my dear friends. So in this case, I can simply say that if I will write print, okay, so if I will write simply over here print that C is equals to D. If they are both are equal, then it will simply return me true. And if I will write over here C is simply you can say not equal to D. So in this case, I will be getting the value as false. In this case, I will be getting the value as true because they are not equal. Then C greater than D. Then I will write over here C is simply less than D. Okay. Then I will write over here print. You can say C is greater than equals to D. Then I will write over here print C is simply less than equals to D. Okay. So firstly, my dear friends, let's just write down what are my expected outputs. So in the first case, I can say that C is equals to D. This will simply return me false. In the another case, I can say that this will simply return me C is not equal to D. This simply returns me true. Then C is greater than D. That is simply a false. And the next thing is C is lesser than D. That is simply the true. And then C is, you can say, greater than equal to D. This is again simply returning me the false value. Then you can say that C is less than equals to D. This is also returning me the true value. So let's say our output follows the same order or not. Let's check our output by running the code. So yeah. So in this case, as you can see over here, we are getting firstly, you can say in the first case, firstly, let's just check for the order. So in this case, I'm simply getting false, true, false, true, false, true, like this. Okay. And in this case also false, true, false, true, false, true. So yes, we have got a right output. So that was all about relational operators. Now let's just move to the next part. That is, you can say that the assignment operators. All right. So just the same way you can say in Python, you can say basically A is equals to B can be used to compare the two values. Okay. So now let me just tell you about the assignment operator. So A is equals to 3. Simply I am assigning it values. Then there are the various operations which we can perform. So let me just discuss all those with you guys. So let me just discuss with you about the assignment operators. Okay. So the first one is you can say that there is a num and the num is having the value as 10. So I have assigned the value of 10 to my num variable. All right. Now what I'm going to do, I want to perform the operation that is num is equivalent to num plus 10. Okay. And then I will be printing the value of simply you can say num. Okay. So let me just run this code. So actually I did not save my code. That is why I did not get the output. So let me just save it and then run it. So yeah. So in this case, I'm simply getting to be as 20. Okay. So now let me just tell you a shortcut way how we can write. We can simply write instead of num is equal to num plus 10. I can simply write num plus equals to 10. In that case also I will be getting my same output. Okay. In this case, I'm getting 20 as well. Okay. Then if I will write num minus equal to 20, it will simply perform num equals to num minus 10. In this case, I will be simply getting the output as 0. So let me just save it and rerun it. So yeah, so in this case, I'm getting my output as 0. So I can write over here simply that I can write over here that the value of num is the value of, you can say num is um simply you can say this will return me the value of num. Okay, so let's just see over here that what I am getting. So let me just save it and run it again. So yeah, so let me just save it and yeah, so let me just run it again. So yeah, so in this case I'm getting the value of num is 0. Now let me perform another operation of multiplication. All right. So in this case, if I will run this code, in this case, I'm getting the value as 100 because num multiply by 10, it will give me 100. Then I'm doing num upon 10. In this case, I should be getting the output as 1 because 10 divided by 10 should give me the simple answer to be 1.0. Okay, so I'm getting over here 1.0. Then the next operation I'm going to perform is the ampersand. Okay, it will simply return me the remainder of, num divided by 10. So in this case, I'm getting the remainder to be 0. If I will write 0 over here, 2 over here, so in this case, I will be getting the output as again, you can say 0 because there is the remainder is 0 in this case. Then I'm going to perform another operation, that is num star star is equivalent to 3. Basically, it will simply return me num to the raise 3. That means 10 to the raise 3, which will return me 1000. So that is how, my dear friends, our, you can say, the relational operators work. Okay, now let's just move forward now. So these are the things which I am getting. Now, my dear friends, let me just discuss with you about the logical operators. Okay, so logical operators are, you can say, not, and, or. Okay, so these are basically used to compare the values, and for and or operator, we simply need at least two values to perform this operation. Okay, so let me just tell you about it first. So in case of logical operators, let me just tell you. So I'm going to discuss with you now the logical operators. Okay. So yeah, so basically logical operators work the way, as you can say that over here, simply I can say that my A is equivalent to, let's say A is equivalent to true, and simply the B is equivalent to, let's say, false. All right, or simply I will write over here something, I will write over here print. If I will write print not true, so this not operator will simply return me the opposite value. Okay, and if I will write over here print not false, this will also simply return me the opposite value. So in both the cases, I will be getting false and true. So let us see. Yeah, so I'm getting false and true. Now let me just perform another operation. Okay, basically I'm writing over here my value 1 is equivalent to true, and simply my value 2 is equivalent to false. So in this case, I can simply write that print is simply equivalent to, you can say that firstly, I will be comparing the two values. Okay, I will be using the and operator over here. So and operator is, and then I will write over here value 1, and I can write over here value 2. Okay, and then I will write another print operation, and then I will write over here or operator is, and then I will write value 1, or I can write over here value 2. So these are my two things. Okay, so basically what happens in case of and operator, what I can say is this value 1 and value 2 means it will return me the answer to be true only if my both the values are true. If at least one of the values false, then it will simply return me the answer as false. And in case of or operator, it will return me true only if at least one of the value is true. For example, you can say true or false, it will return me simply true, because if at least one of the values true, then it will simply return me the answer to be true. Okay, so in this case, I can simply see that I'm getting the answer to be, you can say, you can clearly see over here and operator is simply the false and or operator is simply the true. So I hope now this point is crystal clear to all of you. Now let me just discuss with you, basically apart from, you can say, writing over here the values, and like, we can write over here expressions as well. Okay, let's say I'm writing the expression over here 3 is greater than 5, which is, you can say, clearly this expression is false. Okay, and I will write over here 5 is greater than 3. This is true. So we all know that it's false and true. In case of and operator, we can only get the output to be true only if my value of the both the values around the and operator are true. And in other case, let's say I'm writing over here 5 is greater than 6, that is false, and let's say I'm writing over here 3 is greater than 1, this is true. So in this case, I'm getting, one false and one is true. So in this case, I should be getting the output as true because this is the case of or operator. So let us see our outputs match with our expected ones. So yes. Just a second. Yeah. So basically in this case, I'm getting and operator is false and or operator is simply the true. So I hope, my dear friends, this point is also crystal clear to you. So that is how we have discussed about the various logical operators. That is, you can say that and or and nor operator. So I hope, my dear friends, this was also crystal clear to you. So with this, we have completed our complete concept of operators. Now let's just move forward to the typecasting. So my dear friends, let me just discuss with you all about the typecasting in Python. Okay. So typecasting means like I'm changing the type of a variable. All right. So let me just tell you what is the meaning of typecasting. So for example, my dear friends, I'm having a variable 1 and I'm converting it into the variable number 2. And for example, my variable 1 is in the integer format and I am converting it into the string format, okay, with the help of typecasting. That is simply the meaning of typecasting, okay. So there are basically two types of typecasting, okay. One is, you can say, the conversion, okay, and the second one is, you can say that it is the casting, okay. So in the case of conversion, the thing simply happens is that this is basically done automatically by the computer itself. Automatically it is done by the computer, or you can say by default. In case of typecasting, we explicitly, tell the program that yes, convert this variable into integer and then do the required calculations. Okay, so we will be discussing each one of them with the help of an example so that you can understand it clearly. Okay, so over here, my dear friends, you can see that this is, you can say, a, this is, you can say that my variable a is there and then my variable b is there. Okay, so in this case, you can say a is having the value as 1 and over here the b is having value as 2.0. So if I will run this, you can say sum a and b. So in this case, one is my integer value and the other one is my, you can say, the float value. Okay, so what my Python will do, my Python will automatically convert this integer value to the float value, and then it will add the two float value and return me the final answer in the float value. All right, my dear friends. So now let me just tell you that how you can, perform all these operations. So let me just make our first another program of typecasting.py. Okay. So in this case, my dear friends, you can clearly see over here that, for example, I'm having a variable which is having the value 1 and b variable is having the value 6.777. Okay. And I'm going to do sum a plus b. Okay. And then I will be writing print the value of sum. So we will, see that my Python will implicitly convert this a. Implicitly means by itself, without knowing, without the knowledge of the programmer, it will do all the changes internally. All right. So it will convert 1 into the float, that is 1.000. It will automatically convert. Okay. So now let me just discuss with you about it. So in this case, if I will see my output, so I'm getting 7.777. So that is how you can say the type conversion takes place. Okay. And automatically that happens. Okay, my dear friends. So this was the program for the type conversion. Okay. Then now let me just discuss about another thing. Okay. These are the things which my Python program can itself change. Okay. Now, for example, I've written over here string format. All right. So in this case, I've written my string as 1 and then I'm adding it. Now let me just run my code and see how my code works. Yeah. So it has given me a type error, that is this thing. Okay. But if I will write the keyword int over here, and then I will put this my data inside that. Okay, so basically this int will do the function of converting my string in the form of the integer and then I will be calculating my final answer. Now let me just run this code. It will simply returning me the answer. Okay, firstly it will get, you can say, let me just convert it into float. Okay, so that it will be much simpler for you all to understand. So if I will convert it to the float value and if I will run it, it will return me 7.777. This is also my final answer. So my dear friends, what is happening over here is, let me just explain that to you. So in this case, what I am doing is, I am, simply I am giving the values, all right. So in this case, you can say that float, and over here, this is my string. It is getting simply converted to 1.000 like that. But if in this case, I will write float and I will write over here my name, that is, you can say Shraddha, or you can say if I will write my name over there, like you can say Cheshta. So over here, this Cheshta will be simply a string. All right. Cheshta word is simply a string in Python. Okay. And this will simply, this will not be getting converted because the data written inside is not matching to the integer or the float data. So the typecasting will only work when I have written the required amount of required data in the form of string format, and that can be simply converted into the another data type, you can say float or int. All right, my dear friends, so that is how the typecasting and the type conversion works in Python. So I hope this was also crystal clear to you. So now let's just move forward to our another interesting topic. And I can also print over here the type of my converted data. Okay, so I have converted a into float. So I will write over here print, you can say the type of, you can say that a, this will simply return me what is the type of my data which I'm getting. So it will simply returning me float, that means my data is getting converted into the float data type. Now let's just move forward. So I hope, my dear friends, you enjoyed the today's class. In today's class we learned about, you can say, a lot of programs, a lot of new concepts we learned, that is operators and typecasting. Okay, so I think that I will give you 2 to 3 practice problems. I will give you 3 practice problems that you have to revise at your home. Hello, my dear friends. Let me just give you 2 practice problems at home. So first problem is simply, you can say that this is x plus x equals to 3, and then you have to perform the second operation, that is x plus equals to 5, and then you have to print x simply. All right, my dear friends. And then there is a second problem that you can say that x is equals to 4, then you have to do x plus equals to 3, and then you have to print x. So these are the 2 homework problems, my dear friends, that you have to do at home. So till then, my dear friends, bye bye. I hope you enjoyed my today's class. Okay, so see you tomorrow and with another interesting class on Python. So till then, bye bye. Happy coding and have a great day. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel and do like, share, and comment. Thank you.